So good, so good, so good.
Great gifts for mom? We've got them. And they're up to 60% off at Nordstrom Rack stores now.
You know they have Marc Jacobs?
Gotta show mom some love.
That is so good.
Snag amazing deals on Mother's Day gifts from Barefoot Dreams, Kate Spade New York, and more. Great brands, great prices. That's why you rack.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Fiscally responsible, financial geniuses, monetary magicians. These are things people say about drivers who switch their car insurance to Progressive and save hundreds. Visit progressive.com to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary, not available in all states or situations.
This is the plaintiff, Daniel Armstrong. He says he rented a room in the defendant's house, and on the very day he was moving in, the defendant called him into his bedroom to speak with him. The defendant said he didn't like the plaintiff's mother coming over without his approval. He decided this was not going to be a good living condition for him, and now can't get the defendant to return the $2,400 he owes him. So he's suing. This is the defendant, Angel. He says he discovered a breathalyzer device on the plaintiff's steering wheel and did not divulge he was in any sort of legal troubles. He asked him point blank, and the plaintiff out and out lied to him in their initial meeting. Now he wants a full refund? The plaintiff is trying to squeeze money out of him, and he's not a guy who gets squeezed. He's accused of freaking out a renter.
All parties, please use your right hands.
What you're about to witness is real. The litigants are not actors. They are involved in legitimate disputes, and they have agreed to have those disputes settled here in our forum, the People's Court.
Litigants have been sworn, Your Honor.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome, ma'am.
Okay, Mr. Armstrong, you were going to rent, I guess, a room in Mr. Angel's home or apartment?
Yes. Yeah, in his house.
All right. How did you two know each other, or did you come across it in an ad?
We didn't know each other before. I came across it in an ad in Craigslist. I was looking for a place, a room to rent. I couldn't quite afford to live on my own, so I thought this would be a good opportunity to move out of my parents' house and rent a room. So I contacted Angel, and we had a conversation, and I ended up going over to his house, and we pretty much hit it off, and decided that, I was going to rent the room from him.
Okay, so you give him a $900 deposit when? January what?
I saw the ad at the beginning of December, and I gave him a $900 deposit on the 4th. I'm sorry, on December 9th. I'm sorry, December 9th, I gave him a $900 deposit. And we decided that I wasn't going to move in until February.
How do you know, wait, slow down a second. When did you give him, you gave him a deposit, December when?
December 9th.
In cash?
In cash, yes.
Did you get a receipt?
He sent me an email receipt for that, yes.
Okay, hold on one second. I don't have a December 9th email. I have a January 9th email that says that. So was it January 9th, you think? Because the move-in was February 1st.
Correct, yes.
All right.
Yes.
Well, actually, the email's January 9th. It says, let this email serve as a legal receipt of $900 in cash paid on 1/3. So I think you were closer to right the first time, that it was on 1/3.
Yeah.
All right. So then what happens? Go ahead.
So then we decided I was going to move in February 1st. I went to go visit him in the hospital. Actually, I was going to drive him home from the hospital one day to discuss about
Why were you in the hospital? Mr. Angel, why were you in the hospital? What happened?
It was an injury that I had. I can't go on any further with that.
Why can't you? Because it involved a punch in the face? What was it? What led to it? Are there any criminal charges pending because of it?
No, there's no criminal. I don't have a criminal past.
Mr. Armstrong,
Yes.
you were going to pick him up from the hospital. Did you end up picking him up from the hospital?
No, I just ended up visiting him sort of like as a nice gesture. I bought him some soup. I bought him a coconut water. He ended up not being able to go home that night, so I just visited him for a little bit and discussed a little bit about what was going to happen with the move.
Okay, so now I'm looking at a series of texts back and forth, which is closer to the move, and let's talk about those. On January 9th, you text him and you tell him, "Morning Angel, I hired a mover for Saturday morning, February 1st. And then he talks to you about how much furniture you're going to bring. I'm worried it's going to be too much. Send me a detailed list. Do you guys end up working that out?
Yeah, we do.
No, we did not.
We were, yeah.
Well, I see a text from you, Angel, where you say, "Bring your leather couch. I just need some help clearing the garage. Just a bit messy, not a lot, and we can store your couch there. I still need to take my bed apart in your room, wrap it and store it. I can."
There's a couple of text messages that are missing in between there.
Oh, give me the text messages that you want. Show me the ones you want me to see that are missing.
No. I mean, we can go with that, but for me, I know there's some messages that are missing in between there. So, I mean, it's
Do
really
you have any
not
messages that you want? Right, but you didn't introduce messages into evidence. Do you want?
No.
Are there any messages okay. All right.
No.
So these are screenshots of your telephone. January 21st. Let's get to January 31st when stuff is happening.
Yeah. So can I tell you what happened on that day?
Yeah, tell me what happens on the 31st.
So on the 31st, I came over. It was the day before the move. I wanted to make sure everything was okay, what we were going to go through. I had actually my mom come with me over to the house. There was one thing I did apologize to Angel about, that he said that if I was going to bring anyone over to tell him beforehand. But I figured it was my mom. I just wanted her to see where I was going to live. So we came in just to talk about what was going to happen the next day. And I thought everything was fine.
Can you hold on? Can you put a pin in that just 1 second? Angel, you send Daniel a text that reads like this. "As moving day approaches, expectations need to be discussed. You're the first person I would ever consider bringing your own furniture, especially a moving truck. I've placed a punch list together, and there's 1, 2, 3, lots of stuff about the storage area. I hate clutter. When you come to pitch in before move-in date, take note that it's going to fit through the stairs and have a clear understanding." This is really good. This is what roommates should have, a clear understanding. So why earlier were you saying, no, we never came to an understanding of what he was bringing?
That was the text message that I was talking to you about, that there was one missing. But when I made that punch list, it was strictly because I saw, I think that there's in the punch list that he needed to come to help me clear out that room. He came, I contacted him, I think it was like 3 or 4 times to see if he was going to come. Each time he canceled. When he came that day, and I can't recall, I'm not going to say it's such a date, but I remember he came in the day with his dad. He came with his father to look around. That was a red flag for me, that a grown man needed his dad and his mommy to come and see.
I told
Why?
her.
I would take my mother and say, well, not now, but in the day, I could take my mother to have her opinion. They respect their parents' opinion. Why is that so bad?
That's not where I come from. He's a grown man.
Stop a second, Daniel.
18-year-old kid coming out of college. So he did come with his father, which, he was very kind. His father was very gentle, very nice. He came in without the air that his mother came in. And that's where the problem really rose to the point of saying, there's a problem here. His mom came in there, like Miss Hannigan from Little Orphan Annie, telling me, when are we going to move this? Are you going to move that? And I mean, literally like clutching to her pearls and looking around my house like she came from something much better, which for me, it kind of looked like she used her communion money to get the coat that she had on. So it really was irritating that, one, she hid behind the side of the door. That's what she did. When I opened up my front door, all I saw was him. And then all of a sudden, peekaboo, this woman pops out of nowhere, and they both laughed like it was a joke. I had just gotten out of bed. I was in my underwear. I wasn't expecting anybody in my home to have this woman
You're expecting
practically ask me to sit down and make tea.
But you were expecting Daniel, if you didn't want the woman to come in, why didn't you just tell her not to come in?
Because it said it was his mom. And, where I come from, what are you going to do? What are you going to kick out somebody's mom? I practically waited for her to leave, and then I ripped into him and say, one of my rules were you can't just bring somebody in my home, by surprise, and I don't know how to even open this door in my underwear.
Well, in fact, you text him. Do you realize both you and your mom said, "We'll see" to me when I informed you of who I rented a room to? Come on now. I will always address everyone in my home, for that's how I was raised. However, when any issue arises, such as today, my hope is that who I'm addressing keeps it in mind. I'm only voicing my ouch, you just stepped on my toe, so it doesn't occur again. I will always keep to my agreement, always. You must keep to ours. This is exactly why I placed all visitors must be announced. Please, when bringing anyone to my home, no more let's take a tour. So what ends up happening? Go ahead, Mr. Armstrong, you go on with your story.
I just recall you. I apologize for saying that my mom was there and that he wanted people to be announced before they got there. But I figured this is my mom. I want to show her where I'm going to live. She's going to be.
Okay, I don't care. Yeah, I'm done with your mom. Let's go past your mom. It's now moving day. Okay, you send him a text where you tell him the truck is packed, took only 30 minutes. Yay! Bring you good energy your way. I'm so excited. You are going to share your home with me. Thank you. See you soon.
Yeah.
And he writes to you, please make sure you have everything in place. I texted you on 125. Mm-hmm. You're telling me that you had a complaint because he hadn't emptied out the room, but you know that on 131, and you know that when you send this text, if that was some big problem, he had hired movers, so I presume all that was going to be done then.
The agreement was that with his movers, and that's what happened that morning, with his movers were supposed to clear out my room. I got word that very morning they weren't going to do that. So he kept it on and on for a couple of months.
Okay, hold on 1 second. Mr. Armstrong, they were or they weren't going to do that?
This episode is brought to you by Indeed. When your computer breaks, you don't wait for it to magically start working again. You fix the problem. So why wait to hire the people your company desperately needs? Use Indeed's sponsored jobs to hire top talent fast. And even better, you only pay for results. There's no need to wait. Speed up your hiring with a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
When I came to his house the day of the move, I got there maybe 15 minutes before the moving truck got there. He said, "I'm not feeling well. Can you come up to my bedroom? We'll discuss the move." So I get to his bedroom doorway. He's in his bed. He said, "I didn't have time to move the bed. Is there any way your movers can move the bed downstairs and into the living room?" And I go, whatever's going to make you happy, that's fine. I'm totally fine with that. So on my dime, I was going to have the movers move the king-size bed downstairs into his living room. So
sorry, Judge Milian, but I'm sorry.
Mr. Angel, don't be sorry. Just be quiet. Just be quiet.
It's over.
Let him talk, and then you'll have.
Goodbye.
Aguanta un momentico. Just wait. Listen. The way this works is he talks, then you talk. Okay. He's absented himself from the courtroom. That's fine. If you change your mind and you want to join us again, that's great. But we're in the middle of a trial. He's absented himself, and you go on and tell me what happens that morning.
Okay. So the movers get there. We get to his front door, and he yells out the window, "Wait 1 second. I'll be right down." So he comes down. He's like, "I need to talk to you for a minute." So just at the front door, I go inside. He's on the movers are on the other side of the door. And he says to me, "You can take that truck and bring it back to where it came from, because you're not moving into my house today because the neighbors are going to take pictures. I told you I didn't want a giant truck in front of my house, so you can take it back to where it came from." So I'm like totally dumbfounded. And I said, "Guys, I don't know what to do. I guess we have to just move my stuff back to my house." So I go inside. I go, "Listen, Angel, this isn't going to work out. Just give me my money."
It took you till then to understand that? Because I'm reading months and months of text between you two where I don't see how someone who seems as balanced as you reads these texts and doesn't think this is a terrible idea.
Yeah. I had a bad feeling the night before, but I felt I was already did so much stuff to hide the movers, packed everything.
How much did you pay the movers? I see the receipt where you paid the movers $600.
Correct.
All right.
Yes.
And how much had you paid this gentleman?
I paid him $900 security, and then the day before I moved in, I paid him another $900, so $1,800.
On January 31st. Okay.
Correct.
All right. And how much did he return?
0.
All right.
All right.
I am finding in your favor in the amount of the $1,800 plus the $600 for the move. We
Great.
can't all do whatever we want to do whenever we want to do it. Sometimes we have to stick to the rules. Verdict for the plaintiff.
So the plaintiff prevails. He gets exactly what he was suing for, the full $2,400. The defendant, as you know, he left the courtroom. He's going to find out soon that he has a judgment against him for $2,400. Mr. Armstrong, one quick question I want to ask. There are more, but one thing I wanted to find out from you is, if your mom and dad had told you they didn't like where you were going to move in, what would you have done?
They wouldn't say that to me because I'm an adult and they want me to make my own decisions.
All right. That's it for the case. Thank you very much. Congratulations. You've prevailed.
Thank you.
All right, let's join Judge Marilyn Millian and her husband, Judge John, now for another edition of After the Verdict.
Sometimes you receive in life a series of clues from which you can decipher the puzzle. And eventually the plaintiff figured this out. Unfortunately, he was on the verge of moving in when he figured it out. But there were a few warning flags that flew up, correct?
Yes.
For example, the defendant kept interrupting the plaintiff and calling him a liar. And honestly, if somebody said to me that my mom was dressed like she paid for her clothes with her communion money, you'd have bigger problems than a judgment from your courtroom. Let's face it.
It sounds like he just freaked out because of the size of the moving truck, which is unreasonable because in the emails, in the text beforehand, it was very clear what the man was bringing. He was bringing his own stuff. What difference does it make? He was bringing his own bedroom. What difference does it make what size the truck is?
Right. There was
Say and do whatever you want to do.
In the text messages, and the plaintiff seems to have entered into this in such good faith. He actually goes and visits the guy in the hospital.
Yeah.
He's going to be his roommate. What more can you ask of somebody who might be coming in to live with you?
Right.
Really didn't turn out so well.
No, it did not.
Well, at least he's got the judgment.
Well, Harriet, here's the thing. The contractor may not have been working on your floors, but if he damaged your floors, then he is responsible. And as a matter of fact, he is responsible even if it costs more to fix the floor than he got for the job. That is just the nature of the beast. If he's working in your home, he has to be responsible and cannot be negligent. That will do it for this case. Litigants for the next case on the way into the courtroom right now.
This is the plaintiff, Javante Cook. He says he was driving on a cold, rainy night, and out of nowhere, the defendant crashed into his windshield while riding his bike. The ambulance took the defendant to the hospital. His windshield was smashed along with his fender, grill, and hood, and the guy won't pay him for the damages he caused. He has no other choice to get his money, so he's suing him today for the $3,066.85 he's owed for the repairs he now needs. This is the defendant, Brian Agnello. He says the plaintiff has this all wrong because he was riding his bike and it was the plaintiff who struck him from behind. He was splayed out in the middle of the road and could have been killed by this careless driver. How can he be the one getting sued when the plaintiff hit him? Bottom line, he owes nothing to the plaintiff. It's more like the plaintiff owes him. He's accused of bad biking. The defendant has filed a countersuit for $2,518.29 for his ruined bike and clothes.
All parties, please use your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket, the plaintiff says that he was riding around in his car on a cold, stormy, dark night when all of a sudden, boom,
he gets hit by a bicycle ridden by the defendant. Now, the defendant's saying, baloney. The plaintiff is the one who hit him from behind, and he's lucky to be alive. It's the case of bad biking.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome, ma'am.
Okay, Mr. Cook, you have some sunglasses on now. Do you mind taking them off? Why would you need them right now? Because I like looking into my litigant's eyes.
All right, listen to these pretty eyes. Sorry.
Okay, now we're talking. So, Mr. Cook, you're suing Mr. Agnello because according to you, the accident was his fault. Tell me what happened.
So, I'm going to be honest with you. I hate driving in the rain. I know a lot of people hate driving in the rain, right? So, I was driving down. Now, this ramp is very busy. So, for my thing, I'm not expecting to see any bikers on a cold and rainy ramp, especially when it's busy. So, I'm driving straight down.
When you say ramp, what do you mean? What do you mean ramp?
Well,
my understanding from the police report is that this happened on Culver.
Yes, it's a busy road. Yes, that's what I meant. It's a ramp that allows bikers on the side to ride on the sunny days when it's safe enough for. Yeah, that's what I meant. Right. So it gives them a side corner, but it's very tight. Yeah.
Okay.
So I was riding. Right. Yeah, the light was green. It's pouring raining, and it's dark outside, and I'm just going straight past the green light. 35 miles per hour, 30 miles per hour. Yeah.
Which way are you heading?
South.
You're heading south?
Yeah.
Okay, go on.
So I'm going straight down past the green light, and all I hear is this biker, if anything, what would have to happen, he had to overcut me to land on my windshield. I was so shocked to even see him on my windshield. I didn't even see him because it was cold and rainy, and I wouldn't expect.
Imagine how he felt landing on your windshield if you think you were shocked.
I wouldn't be riding my bike on a cold and rainy day on a busy ramp. I don't think anybody in their right mind would be doing that same thing as far as the dangerous.
You keep calling it a ramp, but do you mean a bike path? Do you mean a bike path?
No, it wasn't a bike path. He cut over me in the middle lane.
What are you calling a ramp?
I'm saying on the side corner where the bikers are able to ride their lane in, he cut over me into the driver's lane. That's what I'm trying to explain to you.
Okay, what happens after the hit?
He just collides on my front windshield.
Okay, and then I presume the police are called. You're freaking out. Did you get out to see if he was okay and stuff?
I did. I honestly did. I went over there, patted him on the back and everything, and my car was definitely damaged, even though, right. So a lot of emotions were going through my head at the point, of course, but I definitely am a good spiritual person, so I did feel sympathy for him, make sure he was okay. I did do that.
Okay, so these are the damages to your car, correct? The bumper, the impact would have been on the left front side of your car, correct?
Yes.
All right, and I guess that's the hood?
Yeah, dented hood, yes.
And what kind of car were you driving?
Ford Fusion, 2012.
And when you say the part where bikes are allowed to ride, is that to the left of you or to the right of you?
That was on my right side.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what the guy from Safe Flight said. He said, wow.
Have you ever seen these pictures?
I have
That's
not
your
seen
head.
Pictures. That's what a helmet
That's
is.
your body or the helmet, I guess. And mercifully, you were wearing a helmet. Mr. Agnello, what do you say happened? Which way were you traveling, sir?
Northbound on Culver. I was on my daily loop that I usually do. And I was going northbound over 490, about to take a left onto Canterbury Street. And the last thing I knew, I felt this object hit me from the backside, and I didn't know if I was on top or underneath the car. It was terrifying. It's one of those nights I don't want to relive ever in my lifetime.
Did you end up in the hospital?
I was in the hospital for about 7 to 8 hours, undergoing blood tests, undergoing examinations, making sure everything was
anything broken?
Okay. Fortunately, nothing was broken.
That's amazing. It's amazing.
Very sore. I was very sore. During the impact, I was very limber. During the impact because it was unexpected. I didn't tense up. And that's one of the major factors of why I didn't have any major issues. And as far as the weather goes, if anyone knows the weather, it's a cyclist. We're in it all the time. I ride year-round along with a lot more people in the area. It was misting at best. I downloaded the weather data from the Rochester airport, and on that day there was a recorded 0.00 inches of accumulated precipitation. And I don't know where this pouring rain comes in, because if it was pouring rain, I wouldn't be riding in the pouring rain. If you're operating your car...
He says that the bike lane, he talks about a bike lane that's to the right of him. Is that accurate?
It is not. No, I was riding in the left travel lane, about to take a left-hand turn onto Canterbury Street. If there was a bike lane, I would have been in it. Is there a bike lane there,
or there's no bike lane? Okay,
there
so you were
no
in the actual
lane.
Traffic lane, right? Okay.
I was in the left lane. Yeah.
Okay. So, and was he stopped at a light?
I can't confirm that because I didn't see him. I felt the impact from behind, and I didn't see the car at all. I know I sent over some pictures that show the rear side of the bike being impacted.
Let's take a look at that. Yeah. Yes. So the back of your and it's tilted this way. So your bike gets hit from here, and the front left of your car is damaged. So that's kind of consistent that he's right in front of you. I'm looking at did you ever talk to the police at the scene, Mr. Cook?
I did, and he backed me up big time, because it says right in the police report, in the pouring rain, key words, right? The fact that, and he was right, my bad. I did get I get north and south confused up a lot. I was definitely north, and there's no bike lane. So I don't even know why a biker.
Okay, but I got to tell you, the police officer may back you up about rain. And hold on, let's get to that police report. Okay, so here's the police report, and you say he backs you up. He does say pouring rain, but let's see what else he says. So you concede you're traveling north on Culver. You're vehicle 1 in this report. You're the cyclist vehicle 2. At nighttime in the pouring rain, vehicle 1 was traveling north on Culver Road. Vehicle 2, the cyclist was in front of vehicle 1, traveling north. Vehicle 2 was pedaling in the left side portion of the northbound lane at the intersection. Vehicle 2 began to slow to make a left turn on a bike trail when vehicle 1 struck with the front left portion, vehicle 2 from behind. Driver of vehicle 1 said he didn't see vehicle 2 until he was on the hood of his vehicle. So when you tell me you want me to believe the officer's investigation when he says pouring rain, do you also want me to believe him when he says that you hit the bike from behind?
I mean, I didn't write the report, Your Honor. I mean, it's more of, it seems like he's, he seems like.
Do you have collision insurance on your car? Do you have like collision insurance that would cover the repairs to your car, or you don't have that? Right, that's why we're here. You sued his insurance, you made a claim against his insurance company, right, Mr. Agnello?
I did make a claim for the value of the bicycle. I did not proceed to sue his insurance company any further. So I just went for the
I don't know what that means.
value.
I'm sure that you went for everything you were out. Why would I believe that you went for anything short of what you were out? I don't know what you're saying about that. I realize you want the shortfall here. You had to replace the stuff. You have a receipt for $2,800. Let's talk about your counterclaim. Let's do that now.
Okay.
You have a counterclaim against him for your replacement costs. You ended up having to spend $2,815 to replace the stuff, right? That's the receipt that you entered into evidence? Okay.
Correct, yes.
And you've subtracted from that what the insurance did pay you, which was $1,583.44. But you're also suing for the panniers, the jacket, and the helmet separately, even though that's included already in the $2,815 receipt.
Right. Why
are you suing for it twice?
When you get hit and
I'm sorry, listen to my question. It's a mathematical question. The accident happened when?
January 10th.
Correct. So on January 14th, you went out and replaced everything, correct?
I went out and got the replacement value for everything. I didn't replace the bike till about a month later.
Okay, so this is an estimate for getting everything?
This is the estimate, yes.
Okay, so this is what you're suing for when you say $2,815, right?
Correct. Now,
and it has the panniers and the jacket and the helmet. All that is already included in the $2,815.
Right. The insurance company
And then in your lawsuit, you have added, listen to me, and then in your lawsuit, you have added, additionally, You're counting it twice because now you didn't just sue for $28.15. You're also adding to it the $137.15 for the panniers, the jacket costs, and the helmet costs. So you're adding them twice. You get what I'm saying? All right. So you did get paid by his insurance company $1,583.44. According to you, that's just for the bike. Do we have any of the why wouldn't you sue him? Why wouldn't you also make the claim for the helmet and the stuff?
I'm just looking for the difference that the insurance didn't.
I know what you're looking for. You're not listening to my question. When you make a claim to the insurance company, it stands to reason that you're claiming for everything, especially if you got 15-something and the price of the bike, brand new replacement cost is $1,500, which is what your receipt says. So it sounds to me like you certainly did make the claim. And what they did was they gave you you showed them this receipt and they explained to you that you get depreciated value and not replacement cost. And that's correct. That's what the loss in court would be, the depreciated value of the items, not brand new value. You're also suing for a $1,000 donation to Reconnect Rochester. Talk to me. Tell me what that is.
Well, that is a bike advocacy group in the city of Rochester that works on doing like bike lane infrastructure, intermodal transportation infrastructure implementation. I'm a big advocate for cycling in Rochester, New York, and thought that would just be a nice thing to do for the community. It'd be great if it could happen.
But you understand what the concept of donation is, right? It's voluntary.
Right.
How would a court of law order him to... Right. How's that going to work? That's interesting. Listen, I'm a big advocate for bikes as well. I think it's dangerous as heck. I don't want anybody in my family doing it. I have a friend who lost a foot. But I understand that we're all better off with a smaller carbon footprint, that it would be better to have a more community-based environment in our cities, that it's great for people who can't afford to have transportation, and it's wonderful. I just wish that some of the bikers in my neighborhood would share the road. That's all I ask, is that you guys share the road all the time. Not just we share the road, you share the road too. So I hope that you are a responsible driver and that you do share the road, but I can't order the guy to pay a donation because that's not what court's about. So on your counterclaim against him, where you are asking for the rest of it, which is really replacement value, my verdict is 0, especially on the $1,000 donation, because that's not really something a court could order in a civil case.
Right.
And on your claim, Mr. Cook, how on God's green acres do you think I'm going to hold him responsible for this accident? According to the police report, you hit him from behind. No one is testifying that it happened another way. You don't know how it happened because you didn't even know anything until he's right on your hood. He says he's traveling in the lane, which stands to reason when I look at the damage to his bike and the damage to his car, and that's exactly what the police officer concluded, that you hit him from behind. So on your claim against him, 0. Good luck, folks. I'm glad you're fine, Mr. Agnello.
Thank you very much.
Well, it didn't work out for the plaintiff in this case. He's getting nothing. Let's find out how he feels about it. Mr. Cook, you just heard what the judge says. What do you think?
This is crazy, man. Like the fact that, like, they still see us drivers and, it's not nothing. That's my A to B, and my car is damaged. That's crazy. I couldn't even drive my car for about a week because of that damage. And being that you got idiot bikers like him riding the bike in the pouring rain, you know what I mean, messing up people's cars. And this is the second time he's done it. Not even that. It's not the first. It's the second time he's done it. So I'm very disappointed with the result.
But you hit him. You're responsible. You hit him.
But he shouldn't have been riding his bike in the pouring rain and cutting over me in the middle lane as he was a car.
Well, Mr. Cook, I'm sorry. You really should take ownership here because you hit him. That makes you responsible, and that's what the judge says.
I take ownership.
So
I
you
take
don't get anything.
ownership. I don't take full.
All right.
Whatever, man.
I'm sorry it didn't work out for you. You don't get $3,000 from him. Now, Mr. Angelello, let me ask you, how do you feel about the outcome?
Well, I think it's the right call. As far as the money goes, I'm not worried about that. I'm just looking at it from the standpoint of bicycles are considered vehicles in New York State. Mr. Cook rear-ended me, and if you rear-end another vehicle, regardless if it's a car or bicycle, it's that person's fault. I was in the right, and that's it. That's it all in a nutshell.
Thanks very much. Now, let's have another one of our after the verdict sessions with our two judges, Judge Marilyn and her husband, Judge John.
Sometimes, Marilyn, cases come before judges and you have a plaintiff who, it seems, kind of looked at the situation and said, the best defense is a good offense. I'm going in first. I'm going to beat the other guy to the courthouse.
He didn't really. I mean, he beat him to the courthouse because the other guy settled with his insurance company.
Right, exactly. Right. And unfortunately, with bikers, bicyclists, in some cities, it's a really dangerous pastime. And it's a great pastime. People get out there and they're healthy and they're riding in the streets, and you see them on Saturday mornings and Sunday mornings. But my God, we have so many injuries and deaths in Miami-Dade County, certainly.
Yeah, but he keeps making the plaintiff in this case kept making a lot of assumptions. He cut in front of me. There's zero evidence of that.
You rear-ended him.
You rear-ended him.
That's usually pretty much the beginning.
Yeah, you're supposed to be traveling at a safe enough distance where this doesn't happen. Right. He keeps assuming that the guy cut from the right and that there's a bike lane on the right, and none of that made any sense anyway. What the defendant had been saying all along is, I'm in front and I'm going to turn onto a bike lane in this other street, but I'm just in the actual traffic lane. And certainly the physical evidence bore that out.
And whether it's a car and a bicycle or two cars or whatever it might be, the guy who rear ends usually has to take out their checkbook. There are not that many exceptions to that.
No, there really aren't. And especially in his case where he honestly could not say, he basically sued him because he came out of nowhere. That's exactly how the complaint reads. He came out of nowhere, so he damaged my car. Well, if he came out of nowhere, right, which didn't actually happen, it means you didn't see him, he's in front of you, you have headlights, and maybe you should be paying attention and not doing whatever else you were doing.
Right, and having seen the damages to that automobile on the front end of it, my God, Mr.
Front
Agnello.
left, yeah.
Mr.
And the damages to the
lucky.
windshield.
He was very lucky to be able to ride another day.
Yes.
Well, Buffy, this is something that the judges talked about a lot, that in small claims court, it's not always about the money, it's about principle. And I have seen cases in small claims for as little as $10. I remember a case we had a $10 lottery ticket where both sides were angry and wanted somebody to resolve it for them. Because remember, a lot of times in small claims court, it's not just about money, but you want to find out who is right when you're at an impasse. So when you're at an impasse like this, you get a neutral third party like Judge Milian who can listen to both sides and then come up with some dispassionate answer for who's right and who's wrong. But small claims court is designed for people to vent their grievances regardless of the amount.